All right, testing one, two, three. All right, the mic is sounding good. So, welcome, everybody, to another episode of Risepreneurs. I got a great Risepreneur in the house with us today, Cedric. Well, main man Cedric. Like, and for those who follow me and know me, I had Cedric on our radio show and Let's Talk About It, and I was like, yo, I gotta get him on the podcast because a lot of the things that we connected with was the same things that I really wanted to highlight here on this podcast. Cedric, how are you today, man?
Pretty good. It's a beautiful day. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling grateful. So it is
Yeah.
really great.
So
Yeah.
as you can see, I'm doing the podcast outdoors today, and I chose this setting on purpose because you inspired me last time when you was on the radio show, and you were talking about the thing that you was trying to do with your brother and
Yeah.
the buying the farm and get that connected. So you can see a lot of plants behind me over there. This we got a little urban farm going on, so I'm trying to learn that concept so that me and you can connect one day, get buy some farms somewhere out here and get our black people over here, get our own food, resources, roots, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
man. Actually that's really great, man. I like your settings and all that. The other time, I spoke to you before on a process, and then I spoke to you on a live of like possibilities. But you know what? It is a great news today, man. That's why I'm saying I'm thankful because I finally purchased the 50-acre land already.
yeah, nice. Yes, you
I
got the
own
50
it.
acre land. Oh, you
I
own
got
it.
it.
Oh, yeah.
I own it, bro. I own it right now. I own it. It's not a dream. It's
Nice.
not a plan. It is a reality right now.
My brother owned that 50 acres land, and this is an immigrant, ladies and gentlemen, who came over here, worked his way, grind. Let's get into that. Let's jump right into that. Because as I told you, my stepdad, who I consider my dad, is an immigrant too. Came, worked hard in this country, taxi driver, worked his way to school, came up, and I often grew up in a very weird, you know, intersection between blacks in America thinking that I was Nigerian because I grew up in that culture. So I kind of resonated and emulated a lot of that stuff in the culture. And then growing up around Nigerians and people from because I grew up in DC that are around from other African, the Caribbean cultures, Jamaica and so forth. And there's like, oh, this black American, right? So I wasn't fully accepted either or because I'm too American to be part of the Nigerian tribe and all the people who came over
I
as
feel
refugees
you.
and like I didn't fit in. So I mean, how was the journey for you? Because I know for you it wasn't easy as well, and you still managed to find breakthroughs of success. So tell me about your journey coming here and how you were able to build and connect and thrive in your career.
Oh yeah, man. It's been a really quite a journey, sometimes when you think about it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I mean, I think we have a different really path, even though we come, in the same intersection somehow. But for me, my journey to coming to America and being an immigrant didn't really start by just like, movement of visa or movement of employment or whatever, but I was a refugee. And growing up, I never thought of being in America any day, any time of my life. I grew up just like any other kid with dreams, aspirations of every other child that could afford anything on our mean, on that younger age, and what our family could provide. However, due to instability and conflict and war, because my dad was involved in politics, we had to flee the country and found ourselves in Uganda as refugees. And from there, we lived there almost five some years, just
Yeah.
struggle, six kid, two parents, actually seven kid, two parent, living in a, I would say 4 by 6, room, all of us all there,
Wow.
just like feeling the struggle, you sleeping sometimes when it rains outside, it rains inside.
Hmm.
Sometimes you spend a day without a meal. Sometimes you just wonder if God exists. Sometimes you wonder why you're living. All those questions. You pray every day and night, and you're just questioning all these things. And then, why am I really or my family going through this? But in 2012, my my family got resettlement to the U.S. Because my daddy
Nice.
applied for political asylum seeker and all those things, and that's how he
Mhm.
came to America.
Yeah.
And when you go through that transition, it's really crazy because it feels like you start life from fresh every time you move from one place, right? So from
Mhm.
Congo to Uganda, when you get to Uganda, everything starts fresh. Language, culture, everything is like different. And then from there to America, you start fresh again from language, culture, and everything. So the journey has been up and down, and just like learning how to navigate all those scenarios, all those situations. It's not easy, and it's up to now. We're still navigating it, but that's
Mhm.
exactly what it is. And then get into US and just start working from there. And I went back to school because when I left my country, I was already graduated high school and went to Uganda. I got a chance to go to college and I did development studies. And when I came here, the American education system trying to no value your education overseas, and especially if it's developed, underdeveloped countries and all that. And then I had to restart somehow again to a community college, to getting my way up, and then started just to keep going on from there, just like with this dream of having American dream, and sometimes working so hard just to making sure
Mhm.
you got it. And then that's all started just like from there, and keep pushing on and getting a career and just thinking about what to do next. And here we are. So just briefly to your question, maybe we can get to details later,
Yeah.
but from my country to here, that's exactly how we came to become an immigrant in this country.
Okay. So what was your first job here? I always like to ask entrepreneurs, everybody, what their first job, and what was something that you learned that helped you now to this day from your first job?
Oh man, even though I had education degree from back in East Africa, and actually by that time I was actually even working because I started nonprofit when I was 17 years old. I
Mhm.
came here when I had a really knowledge of a lot of things. I knew stuff and I really wanted to work, and the idea was just like, I'm gonna come to US, I'm gonna look for work. One of the places I wanted to work so bad was like the International Rescue Committee. I wanted to work
Mhm.
at the race care, the county of San
Yeah.
Diego, all those things. But when I came here, coming fresh in the country, I think they told me like, "Hey, dude, chill out for a minute. You know, you have no
You was doing
American
too much,
experience."
huh? They was like, "Oh, you working too
Yeah,
much. You
I
working
was
too
like,
hard."
uh-oh. Yeah, and then I went to work at Goodwill. That's my first ever job. And I always tell people, working at Goodwill is never been like a cashier. Because cashier sometimes it's kind of luxury because you're there on
Yeah.
computer, somebody check out. I applied for cashier position, but they told me to go back in a receiving donations and packing and unpacking donation in truck. So my job was like outside, packing stuff, assessing and collecting all the donations,
Right.
sorting donations. When trucks come in, we go outside, put things inside and stuff like that. That was my first job. That was my first ever job. And then after that, I work at Team MVET. Team MVET is another thrift store, you know, for veterans, I guess. I did the same, and it was really hard. I'll tell you, it was really hard. But for me, it was really one of the way of like maybe learning a lot of things, being
Mhm.
patient, being like stuff like that. That was my ever job. And then from there, I just career wise, and then I started getting there after 1 year, I guess. And then I get a job I wanted to do, which was working at International Rescue Committee San Diego. And from there, I started being their job readiness and financial literacy instructor for
Mhm.
immigrants, refugees, and families with low income,
Nice.
teaching and training more than 7 nationalities. And from that point, it's been up, and it's like we never stop from there. Start working from there, working with Rescue, work with San Diego Works for Partnership. I work with organizations in East Africa, I work with global organizations. I got to travel. So it's been like a really great journey from that time, from that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember first hearing about you probably in your rest care days when I used to go visit Deanna and them. They would tell me a little bit about you, and I heard great things about you. And then by the time you got to San Diego Workforce Partnership, I was already out the I already had left, so I missed the opportunity to work with you personally. But that I we gonna connect and do some great things together. I can already tell and see. So transitioning now you're in this world of entrepreneur. Well, you've always been in this world of entrepreneurship, and I see you just doing such great things. Congrats again on building the farm. Now, what do you think is kind of when you look at that journey? What was the key thing to your success in doing all these things and going into this next venture? What would you say those key things that helped you be successful in your journey?
Yeah, like navigating into nonprofit. I'm not really gonna discredit people that work in a nonprofit humanitarian area, coming from underdeveloped countries, back from Congo to Uganda to East Africa to America, working with nonprofit organizations, national and international, and looking at how the whole things work, but also thinking about you as a person, coming from poor family and background and keep going in a system. Something hit me a few years ago. I would say exactly 3 years ago. Like, hey, these things of working 8 to 9 or 8 to 5, it's not going to help me. I'm not
Yeah.
going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. If you see my resume, I transitioned from job because I never felt satisfied. Not only satisfied in terms of what I do. I enjoyed a lot of things that I did, but I think there was just a lot of things that at some point 3 years ago, it felt like this is not what I need to do. And if I have to do a lot of things in terms of like getting more money, I'll say that motivation was there too, being a millionaire and looking at how, African communities here, even the African Americans and Africans, how we stay in the same level and we can really do, things beyond other people somehow that we live with, and look at how we can do better. And one of the things that keep coming in my mind is like only business and only
Yeah.
entrepreneurship can take you to
Yeah.
the next level. If you start thinking that way, that can get there. So 3 years ago, I started doing stuff here and there, and for me, that was just like a awakening of like, oh yeah, I think I can start building up something. And here in the US was really hard because to start a business here for me, it was really hard because I felt like being in San Diego, a lot of things were really taken already. Small businesses you can do, how we appeal to people. There's a lot of startups and all these things, and I wanted to do something. So I started doing some overseas. I started just investing in small stuff in a country in East Africa. I started investing in computer classes, providing technology and making income out of it. I started investing into farming and see how it would work. I started investing into microfinances for women's that are trying to look for credit, because I told myself I need to start with the humanitarian part of work, but I need to do entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurship that I know I do something, but I get something too, because I need to get rich too. I need to get some cash.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how that started, and then it continued, and then I get to the mindset of like, oh, I can do something here as well. So I started selling shoes, just like buying shoes, factories in Mexico that are just like European brand, sell them to people. I'll buy suits and sell them to people as I'm looking at things I can do and start thinking about small business ideas that appeal to my community that I know I can make cash out of it. And San Diego wasn't really that place that I saw myself very successful.
That
And then I started thinking about moving out of there so that I can do like business here in the country in a very nice way. And that's why I end up being in and by August, September this year, I moved to Lexington, Kentucky. So, and that's where now, like, I'm opening up a ice cream and coffee shop here in Kentucky. That idea of like business and a bigger scale of like farming, agriculture, and all those things. And then I just bought a farm, which I'm starting really operations by January, and some other small things here and there. So the mindset was just like, yeah, something needs to happen. And if something needs to happen in a better way for me is to do business, do something for my own that can help the community in different way and create employment, stuff like that.
Oh man, you said a whole bunch there, and it's so much to unpack. But let's go back to the mindset thing because mindset is so important. And I think when we look at what you're talking about, well, first I want to go into the mindset of an immigrant coming into America and immigrants in this America because they have a different mindset from
Oh
blacks
yeah,
in America,
oh yeah,
right?
true.
Especially when it comes to the hustle and so forth. And it took me a while of working in nonprofits and working in government, working doing the traditional go to college, get student loans, and following that American dream to realize that the American dream for blacks and immigrants in this country is going to be a little different path to build our success. So tell me, like, what do you feel is the difference between like, speaking from your experience, the mindset of an immigrant um in the US, and then speak a little bit to how the mindset of an immigrant being in these communities with other blacks who were born and raised here, like how does like what is usually the relationship like
Man,
in these.
that's a really good question, man. You know, the mindset of an immigrant or refugee who come to America is always high because when you look at where a lot of people come from, like me, poverty and underdeveloped country, and you look at America, first of all, things we see on TV, it makes you feel like, wow, this is paradise, And the mindset when you come to this country is like, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
there. I'm gonna be rich. So when you come in a country, that's the mindset. Yes, I'm gonna make it happen. So when you get in, no matter what situations you see here and there, and news and people around you that can discourage you, whatever. Honestly, most immigrants and refugees that I know, their mindset is always success, no matter what. And the difference that I think I can point is that a lot of us, myself, we did not experience a lot of African or African American discrimination, racism, and all those things as it is from generation. That I think for me, it holds a lot of African American down so much. For us,
Mhm.
that's not really a big deal. Honestly, that's not really a big deal for us. So one of that, it kind of differentiate or it kind of detach us from that mindset and not really care about it. I would say
Mhm.
myself, like, one of the stuff you come to learn about, police brutality, you can leave them somehow, but you hear more about them than you leave them. So it kind of affects you mentally, even sometimes when you don't leave them. But the mentality is that I need to be there, I need to do something. So when you have the mindset of like doing more, doing stuff, you kind of pressure yourself of doing that. You kind of pressure yourself like, doing more, working hard and making more money so you can do that. That's one. Two is that, for us, when we are here, we have our origins. We have where we come from. Some people come in this country, they don't have parents, they don't have their brothers, they don't have their sisters, and they're like the brain winners. They want to help people back. And the only way to do it, you need to work extra or work your butt out so that you can help them. So that's another motivation because you're even not your close relative. We live in a community related system. Even your aunties, your uncles, their sufferance is yours as well. So you want to do something and on all those things. So that's the higher motivation with the mindset of like, this is the country that has opportunity. I'm gonna get that opportunity no matter what. That's the mindset.
Yeah. So what do you now that you've been here a while and then you've got to interact with so many different types of people and different communities, and you have that essence of community, what do you think is the mindset of blacks in the country? And I know you said the biggest thing you think that holds us back is just the discrimination that blacks in this country may have experienced from a different vantage point and viewpoint than the immigrant has experienced. What do you think is the biggest thing that holds blacks in this country back in the US particular? And how do we also, because I feel that there's also a need where blacks in America can support immigrants coming over, because I feel like that's part of our heritage and lineage, if we're being true and honest with ourselves and looking at the history. And
Yeah.
and what can we do to kind of repair that relationship and build together, right? And give me your
That's a hell of a lot. That's a hell of a lot of things. That's a hell of a lot of things in one. First of all, I want to point that when a lot of African come to United States as immigrants and refugees, I think there is a big disconnect between us and the African American, and that disconnect is both ways, right?
Yeah,
One is that because the image that is being portrayed by African American in Africa is very different and bad, because the U.S. media shows African American as gangsters,
yeah,
as rappers, as
yeah,
all those bling bling and smoking and those stuff like that. They don't portray image of like really, even in a movie, it has to be a black person is the bad guy, or is somebody that doing bad stuff. So that image itself, when you come to this country, you're trying to disassociate yourself, trying to disconnect yourself with that community, because you don't want to be that. 'Cause as much as you
yeah,
want to be successful, you don't want to be associate yourself with people that are gonna put you down. And we talk about mass incarceration. For us, we don't really understand much about, it's a mass unlawful incarceration targeted people of color. We understand in Africa, when we are there, as no, these are bad people and they're in jail because
mhm,
of whatever they do, right? So you don't need to associate yourself to them. That's really bad. However, when it comes to African Americans, also, they do not really welcome you. They do not give you that warm welcome of like, oh, my brother, my sister, my brother from another mother.
yeah,
Let's link up. Let's do all these things. No, 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 no. There is no that. And there is
yeah,
kind of like, not competition. I'm trying to look for a word. They kind of just like, oh, you this one too. And even like trying to understand some basic things, you hear some weird questions or some weird statement even from your fellow or Africans, Americans here. So that
yeah,
disconnect, in that. However, when it comes to mindset, I feel like one thing I've seen personally, I'm talking from my experience, in which most of them I might not know the roots causes of it, just by living here a couple of years. We always talk ourselves and we say like, man, African Americans really don't take advantage of what they have in this country. We understand the whatever happened, slavery, discrimination, but we felt like I mean Africans, we always feel like there is a sense of like not making more effort.
yeah,
There is a sense of more making more effort. There is a sense of entitlement, which is like, this is my country, whatever it is, without making more effort, you just there, and that's why you see a lot of people, says in welfare system. That's why you see a lot of people just like giving up just because of things that have happened. I know there's many reasons why people are the way they are, but you will see a lot of immigrants really becoming easy successful because maybe they don't experience whatever the other part or the other side experience, right? But for us, we always seen it as laziness. I'm talking about community experience. I'm talking about like on the surface,
yeah,
understanding that there might be a lot of things behind, but on the surface we call it laziness. They want to just get easy money. They just don't want to work. They just want to make an effort. Why don't they go to college? Why can't they start and finish? Why do you drop out? Why do you have a baby? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
All those things, right? But as an African, it's like, hey, I'm here to make money, to work. No matter what you want to tell me, goodwill, I will go. I want to go to the mushroom farm, I will go work. At the end of the day, I want to buy this, I want to be this, I want to cash my money, I want to be this. So you see, we keep saying that there is really no much involvement for some, African American, which can be compared to the Africans that are just come fresh, in this country and become successful easily. That's
yeah.
the type of
You know,
mindset.
you know what I think it is it's a mindset of one pridefulness and not willing to like just put in the work and do what you have to do at whatever level that is. Which would take you to humble yourself and do the extra work. And that really sets it apart. You hit it on the nail perfectly. Um, Another thing I often sit with too, and then you can kind of give me your thoughts on this. I often think is that immigrants, they have a sense of a stronger sense of who they are because they know their roots, they know their lineage, and then also they come from places where they see black people being successful. They see blacks as presidents and owning businesses and running a whole country, where blacks in America, we don't get to see that as much, right? And so we
Yeah,
kind
I
of think
mean,
it's like, oh, that's there's not enough opportunities for all of us to get it. So if he got it already, then he's going to be the only one, and I can't get it unless I take him out.
No, I know. I would say that my answer is yes and no, and I will say why. Yes, I understand African immigrants have a lot of background, roots where they're coming from. They know everything from and they did not experience the slavery as being like white and black and being oppressed for many years. We did not experience that. For me, that is not really something that runs into my mental daily, even though I still live with my Pan-Africanism blood of trying to free Africa and decolonize Africa as a whole country. But I did
Right.
not live that every single day like my brothers and sisters, African American, who fought for their freedom for many years.
Hmm.
That's one piece. But no piece for me is that when you start getting educated, when you start getting your world open up to you, when you see the world of internet and social media, for me, I feel like a lot of people don't even want to make an effort
Hmm.
to understand and to know. Because, I mean, comparing to white people, honestly speaking, there's a bunch of white people in every freaking African country that are making fortune. The
Hmm.
question is where our African American people are.
Mm.
Every investment, every small project, man, I will tell you that some Americans in a place like Uganda, Rwanda, Congo, they even own a guest house and they make fortune. But where my African Americans people are? So for me, the idea of just like trying to learn, trying to understand, trying to explore should be something people, a lot of, my brother and sister African American be like, oh yeah, let's try this. And more especially when you've been in a country that oppressed you for so long and you know that you can have a second home somewhere. I think that should have been, for me, honestly, my brother,
Yeah.
I think that should have been like an escape zone and being welcomed very well, invest a little you have and getting more and being like easy. But I think lack of that education and lack of that willingness is there. And the fact that even somebody that finishes college 4 years, masters, you're still asking where Congo is. Don't even know where Congo in the map. Where is the
Yeah.
capital city of Ghana? You don't even know.
Yeah.
So if you know, first of all, don't care, and if the media of the U.S. only show you those, kids will serve the children, or UNICEF or UNHCR is showing you so you can give donation and showing animals and elephants and whatever that portrays Africa, then you just don't want to know, because
Yeah.
Africa is a whole big continent with a huge economy. So the effort of knowing is also very important, to trying to understand, like, is there other escape way to do it? Just like Africans do. We struggle because of insecurity, war, and whatever. Okay, what is the next place to go? I'll tell you, there are Congolese all over the world, even in Russia, bro.
Hmm.
Even in Russia. So just like looking at those those second options, it is very important, and especially if you can be welcomed somewhere like a king or a queen. Africa should be a place where all my African and African American brothers and sisters will go, invest, live, and live happily.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been telling people too, like, and you start to see a more surgence of black people just like really wanting to
Oh
say,
yeah,
hey,
yeah, started. Yeah,
enough is enough. Like, I wanna go invest back in the motherland. Let me learn where I can do business at here.
yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is, people are scared or they don't understand, and it's a different culture and how to do business over there. So I mean, break it down for us. Like, you've been able to do business and invest. What would you tell somebody who's black from the diaspora, who wants to start making some transitions and invest their money back into things back in this wonderful nation, and start using that as their blueprint to financial freedom, or generational wealth, and what how do they start to make those connections, and start to really look at how to invest back home?
I think the best thing to do, you need to do the baby steps. That's what I always call them.
Okay.
Baby step. You can
All
just be
right,
like,
give me the baby
oh,
steps. Give me the
I'm,
baby steps.
yeah, I'm gonna cash out 20,000, 50K, 100,000. Let me look on the map. Okay, Senegal. Let me go to Senegal. No, baby step. understand where you're going. Just make a simple trip first. Just as much as you can go to Cancun, or as much as you can go to Dubai, as much as you can go to wherever you want to go for vacation,
Uh,
look for some country, go visit. Just go see first. Do not even think about investing, living, or whatever. Just go. Just go see if that place is real, if that place exists, if people
right.
live there, if animals live there, what do they do for living? Just first go
Right.
see. That's
Okay.
step number one. Just make that trip, make connection for somebody you know from that specific country. We have those in colleges, we have them co-workers, you have them in your neighborhood through a friend. There
Okay.
are people that are doing tours, you know, group tours. Actually, my friend and I in San Diego wanted to do that before the corona come. We have some friends, African American, that wanted to do like an East Africa tour with us because we know the country, we know the places, you know. Join one, just spend 1 month off, spend summer, spend spring if that's something you want to look at. There's a lot of people around there that can help you. Just see, that's baby step number one. Then baby step number two, just now think about from what you've seen, make your own decision.
Okay.
Make your own decision. Because when you're there, you're just not going there to look around. No, you talk to people, you networking, you ask questions, you visiting startups, you visiting corporations, you visiting government. Just grasp at everything you can do. The value of your money versus here and versus you can do here. Then when you come back, think about it. Is it something I want to do? Is it something I want to, invest in? And then from there, just you can go from there. That's for me, first thing first. Then that conversation again can come later about like, I want to do this. But there is endless, if now I can stress into that. There is endless opportunities for people that have dollar amounts, for people
Yeah.
that have education because we need that. There's the rise of a bunch of startups in places like Ghana, with the year of return, places like Nigeria, places like Rwanda, and people really need a lot of things. And the land is so empty in such a way that with small capital, you can do a lot. So imagine you've been working all your life, even though you save $100,000 here to start a company, you cannot. But with $50,000 somewhere in East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, you can start a multi-million business if you have that cash ready and a business mindset, and you
Yeah.
can make it happen. So it is
I
possible.
love it. So tell me about let's dive into one of the investments you did. Let's start with the one that you have in Africa. Where is it specifically and what is it? And then give me a little background about it. And then we'll jump back into the US side of things.
Yeah.
And because I'm really curious to learn more about this Kentucky trip. I don't know too many black people in Kentucky, so you're gonna be my
I'm here now.
yeah, you hear that. All right, so tell me
Yeah.
about the investment that you did back in the motherland. So where is it at and
Yeah.
what is it?
Sure. So I've done few things in the motherland in a very small aspect. As I say, even myself, you gotta try to see what's there, what's feasible, with everything that goes there, geographically, politically, all those things. You need to understand the system and all that. So, but two things that is really consistent right now for me. I'm gonna start with one. So back in East Congo, I'm investing in small microfinances. It called VSL Village and Saving Loans for Women. So
Okay.
me and my buddy, we put some cash into like a small banking system, whereby we can be able to, we're offering small loans for people in the poorest neighborhood to be able access to money, sell with, X amount of, percentage in return.
Mm,
That's working, and we serve more than, we're getting close to 4,000 women right now, and it's
mhm.
something that work. We started from scratch because when that actually was, the idea came from the non-profit side of it, because a lot of people will come, they give you fish, they don't teach you how to fish, and it doesn't work. So microfinances, access to capital, it's something that we are doing, and by doing that, we're using mobile transfer, mobile savings, to making sure your money, you have some security on your transactions and all those things, and then we have percentage in return every month. After trying some other things, selling here and there, I felt like agriculture is a big thing.
Yeah.
Agriculture, and you're going to look at places like Congo, whatever in Congo, I mean, in Africa, there's a lot of food coming overseas. There is a lot of food coming here and there. And yet we talk about hunger, end hunger, all these things, but we have all this land we do not really exploit. So me and my other two buddy, actually, one is in Arizona, one is in Kentucky. We purchased 15 acres of land,
Mhm.
which we are farming, but also we are working on touristic sites where
Mm.
people can come and chill and have some good moment because it's in capital city in Kinshasa.
Mhm.
And it's a really good place to go chill and have some good time, but also having some vegetables and growing crops and stuff like that. So right now we are growing tomatoes, we are growing onions, we have some fish pond, we are growing corns and all those things, but also we are building
Mhm.
places where people can come and chill. So agriculture is big, and me and my other friend investing into that because we know that that's really a money making right now, and it's working. It's getting there. It's working. Purchasing land and culture. I mean, commercial wise, not just like you eat. No, no, no. Commercial wise, and we are working with people, engineers and agriculture engineers on ground and business people who can just working on a business side of it. We call it bio nourriture because it's a French country, and then we have suppliers already and stuff like that. So we are working on that.
Nice.
So mainly, those are the really main two things that we are working on. But with the idea of Uber and Lyft and all that, and transportation being a big deal,
Mhm.
me and my other two friends in Arizona, we are working on introducing transportation of motorcycles in east part of Congo. And my home is it's there right now because we are three of us. One went and purchased an item and just see how things are. So we've been working on brainstorming this for the next few years. We're gonna launch our website next year for giving
Nice.
opportunity to invest in that, just to making sure people have access to going point A, point B. Where our first trial, that's the word I was looking for. We're having a trial period for 1 year. We are purchasing 10 motorbikes, and then we're gonna use them and then see how much. We've already worked on every detailing, tracking,
Mhm.
and all that in idea of to make it more bigger, but also trying to think of doing something Uber related, but in our own way, in our own geographic situation. And that one is in process. That one is something that is in process right now.
Mhm.
Our homeboy is in the ground right now working on the logistics, but it's something that we're launching next year. But the microfinance and the agriculture, those are business that are going and running really
Yeah.
right now. Sure.
I I I really love that you're getting into agriculture as well, just because our friend Shell, I was just talking to her about like how health is a big thing, especially in the Black community and African community, and one way that we could get back to health is through agriculture, making sure we're eating those healthy vegetables and taking back and all this processed food that's been handed down or given to us, and then really getting back to the herbs and the spices and the things that naturally have things in them that can help cure and rebuild and refuel and
Exactly.
replenish the body, right?
Mhm.
From a holistic standpoint of view. And I know you're also doing agriculture here, so let's talk about a little bit what you're doing here in the US with agriculture, or about to do and starting to do. First, tell me the story because I know the story, but for the people who are listening just now, how did you
Yeah.
even get in the conversation of going to Kentucky to purchase, was it 50 acres?
50 acres, bro. 50
How did
acres.
how did this like how does this even come to be? Give me the story.
Bro, it's a long interesting story because
Give me the short version.
my wife and I, like, living in a city for many years and all these things, and living in San Diego, we always want to have space, growing stuff, but we never thought of going commercial or business wise, right? And we just like thinking about places, opportunities, buying a house in San Diego. Just man, that's too much money just for staying. And when you have an entrepreneurship mindset, when you have a business mindset, you do not really just like spend for whatever. You need to spend where you see return, in investment, right?
Mhm.
And when we start talking we came to Kentucky, just exploring places and stuff. We found out that Kentuckians and farms in Kentucky are owned by majority white people.
Mm,
And the farms that are here, 90% of them owned by white people.
mhm,
Yet the percentage of Africans and African American in this in these states, but they don't own those big farms. Yet you see there's a lot of space on all these things.
Mhm.
As an entrepreneur, I ask myself, like, why can't we also benefit from all this agriculture and business and farm? Why is it that this is only white thing? Why is it that all these things we cannot do it? That was one. Two, my community and even immigrants that are coming from Middle East, Nepal, Africa in general, we like to buy fresh food, fresh animals, goats and stuff, and they go travel, or they drive 1 hour and a half or 2 hours to go buy a goat or chickens or veggies. I see my dad is just like, he's coming home with corn. He's like, where did you get this? I went to a farm somewhere 2 hours or 1 hour to go bring this. I'm like, wait, why in this whole community there is no one African who can provide this for the people? Why?
Right. You,
And
you
my
know
brother
what?
was like,
My dad used to do the same thing. They would go, like 5 of them. They would go buy one cow, and they share the whole cow. We had to buy extra freezers so that, like,
exactly.
you could put all the cow portions in there.
And my brother's telling me, man, actually there's this, some people are on the farm and they really disrespect Africans, they just like insult them or whatever. But I don't know why we cannot have farm as Africans. And I'm like, we can. We can have a farm. Let's start looking for one. Let's make it possible. Let's do it. And it's like, okay, let's look for something like maybe 5 to 10 acres and see how it goes from there. And then my wife was like, actually, I think we should go big. If we're just gonna go big, let's just go big. And suddenly we found this 50-acre farm, which is insanely beautiful and big in Kentucky. And we was like, you know what? This is it. This is it. This is it. This is where we're gonna have it. This is where we're gonna grow crops. This is where we're gonna buy our animals. We're gonna sell it for our own people. This is we're gonna do those outdoor weddings for our people. This is how we're gonna have our people have their own brother doing their stuff, where they're gonna be respected, where they're gonna be, easy and feeling at home. But also, I wanted to do something that can be recreational, social media detox, places where I can create some kind of African and American culture environment. People can even come and learn, the African way. I'm really into the languages and culture. I want to create that place as a place that is gonna be offering all that, not only for immigrant to African, anyone that just want to come and explore. And that's the master plan right now.
Yeah. I love all that. And remind me again, over there too, there seems to be a lot of immigrant that works for the farm as well. Is that correct?
I would say there's a lot of, yes, of course. As much as you see all these big go farms owned by people, even wait, guess what? Some of the farms are not even owned by only people in here. They're owned by people in the Middle East. They invested in
Really?
$1 million farms over here. Yes, yes. They invested in on the farms here for horse, for ranch, for animals and stuff. But only our people with our own color that do not really own much of it. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
for me, they didn't really sound no so much fair. And also this idea of like, oh, we cannot do that. Because I spoke to somebody just like we are talking, with you. I'm like, what do you think about purchasing a land? And that's the guy's an African, a Congolese like me. You know what he told me?
Yeah.
Man, those are bazungu stuff. Muzungu means a white person. Like, those are white people. Like, that's not your level. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not your level. I mean, it's just like the idea how we limit ourselves with
Right.
not thinking so much sometimes can also make us be in the same situation over and over. But I was like, wait. I understand what you're saying, but I think we can still do it. We can still do it. And now when I tell somebody I own a 50-acre farm, like, wait, you own or you work at the farm? You
Yeah.
know,
They look
that's
you
a
at you. They look at you different, right? And it hits
yeah,
different.
that's a conversation today. We went to my homeboy to help somebody, and we met this African ladies like, oh, what happened? I come from San Diego, and what do you do here? Oh, I just on a farm. It's like, oh, you work at the farm? Like, no, I do not work at the farm. I own the farm. It's like, you like, yeah. So you see so it's just like crazy, but yeah, that's the thing. That's the
But
motivation
and
behind it.
it's
That's the
it's look,
master.
that mindset, limiting beliefs, and it's in all of us, and you gotta break out of those limiting beliefs, stereotypes, and so forth. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
wanna end off with something good because, me and you could talk all day, but let's
I
give some
know.
people something good that they get. So for all the little boys and girls, all the refugees who may be stepping in America right now or stuck in a dead end job that's listening to this, give me 2 or 3 tips that you would give to them, things that'll work for you that could possibly help them be successful in their journey and getting to the next step. Go ahead, take it away. Give me those 3 tips.
Yeah, so one, I would say, patience is one of the key. I've seen a lot of my people trying to jump so fast. As I told you, starting by working at Goodwill and whatever, again, somewhere, you can start getting slow. A lot of people want to go fast, but take it easy. As long as you have your master plan and your vision, you're still going to get there, but you don't need to rush it. Sometimes, in Swahili, they say, haraka haraka haina baraka. That means too much rushing does not have blessing. So you just chill. That's
Yeah.
one. Two, have a plan. Know what you want.
Mhm.
Know what you want, because you cannot achieve anything if you do not have a master plan. You need to have a plan. You need to actually write it, just like this is what I want to do, and we get there. And honestly, that has been, everything that I always told myself. Next year, I want to do. I want to plan this. I want to travel this. I want to do this job. I want to get this amount of money, even job wise. And I write it and I put it and I target even some type of organization. It's always work, because that's what I'm going to. So I don't wait just on things like this. No, I have to plan. Three, I just tell them, like, step out of your comfort zones. One of the things that kills us most immigrants, we stay in the same bubble. Sometimes you need to reach out to people. For me, actually, one of the things that when I start working at Rescue and ask about you, if I go back to that, it's just because I needed to know, what is it to get used to a city like San Diego and work in that environment, whatever, which is like somebody who was just like me in my own community wouldn't just like enlighten me on some of the things that I might not know about career, all those things, you know what I'm saying? And many people just trying to get out of your comfort zone and explore other opportunities, because there are endless opportunities over there. And
Yeah.
the fourth, the most important one, is consistency.
Mm.
Consistency. Do not give up.
Yeah.
Keep going. I talked to you about 2 businesses that are working for me in Africa, but I'll tell you even 10. Sometimes my wife is like, Cedric, you don't have to do this. I will do it. Some don't work, some we put in money, some all these things, but you need to do, but something will kill there. So consistency is very important to get to where you want to do. At the end of the day, you'll make it happen.
I love it. I love it. Consistency is key. Um, what's your favorite quote right now?
Man, yes, bro. I keep having this quote that speaks to me so much since I was young. I don't even know in which circumstances I saw it, but it's always like, be the change you wish to see in the world,
I love it.
by Gandhi. That's
Uh-huh.
my quote, and it speaks to me in a very different angles. And I always want to be the change, wish to see in the world. And I can tell people, is be the change you wish to see in the world. That's my favorite quote.
I love it. Love it. Cedric, you would definitely being the change that you want to see in the world. You're a change in the world in so many different ways, changing people's lives. You even changed my life. The fact that I met you and the new vision and restored energy that
No,
I've
you
gotten.
inspiring me so much too, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So
Yeah.
let's definitely keep in touch. Thank you for taking the
Yes.
time to sit and talk with us. I can't wait for this episode to air and for the people to hear and learn more about you. Where can people find you at? How can people connect with you? Give them the
Oh yeah.
info.
So the easiest way right now to connect to me is just my LinkedIn. It's one of the ways to learn most of my professional work at
Yeah.
Sedrick Murhula. And also just I have YouTube, whatever, and a Facebook page called My People Talk Show. My
Ah,
People Talk Show.
my people.
MAPIPO. Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
it.
that's where they can find me easily, man. I appreciate you so much. Thank you
Yeah,
so
make sure
much.
y'all go check this man out. Pleasure once again, and then we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you
And
so
that's
much.
another episode of Rise Panours.
Thank you so much.